Setup 532.
No.
Setup
14.
612.
No.
What setup is this? What setup is this?
Who knows?
14.
Can I pull up? What's up? No, I can't do
No.
that. I can't do that.
Do it.
We need something.
Plus you signed in.
I don't think people are loving the theme music. We need something. This
We
is
need different theme
I think
music.
the thing that your mother's doing right now is not the something we need. We need something. Y'all need to tell us what we need.
I need coffee.
It is coffee. It is 1:24. We're live at 1:25.
No.
Yeah, buddy. Live at 1:25 on Sunday. Sunday. January 6th. What's up, Mike? 6. That's right. 6 rings. Don't be hating. Don't be hating.
I would never hate on Michael Jordan, ever.
Don't be hating on the MJ all day. I think it's very interesting how so many of the students that I have do not understand. They really don't understand that MJ all day. And I always, everywhere we go, I always want to make them understand like where the NBA was back in the day, like where it was in the 80s, where it was in the 90s, why it is the way it is today. I always want to do that. Always.
Yeah, but they're all Kobe'd.
They don't. They think like Kobe is their like. That's like where basketball started.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. It's they don't believe that they know there's a history before him. But what I'm saying is that's where their knowledge of basketball starts. And from it's like, oh God, I was listening to Back to the Theater. And I've been catching up. I've listened to I listened to all of November and December in 2 days. And
How does your stomach feel?
that's my stomach workout right there. And Han said classic rap, and I'm like thinking, yeah, rap from the 70s and the 80s, and he said the 90s and 2000s, and I was like,
Oh,
no, that's not classic rap. That's what some people are calling the golden age of rap, the 90s and 2000s. But classic? No, classic is Curtis Blow. Back in
These are the breaks.
That's what I'm saying. Basketball. And see, in that song, I could bring this all the way around. In that song, he talked about Wilt Chamberlain, he talked about Dr. J, he talked about Magic Johnson, he talked about even Larry Bird, I believe.
Yeah.
He talked about Walt Frazier, he talked about all these people. But at the end of the song, he talks about a kid from college called Michael Jordan.
Yep.
See, and that
Dude.
I can't have basketball chat.
No.
I mean everything that's happened that is there today is because like they're standing on the shoulders of the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, and just like they stood on the shoulders of the people before them. If you don't get John Stockton without Pistol Pete. There's certain things that just they grew, they got better over time, and I get that. But it's still MJ all day. You know what I'm saying? It's still MJ all day. All right, I got my.
Set up the tripod and then just.
No. This is for show and tell.
Oh. Because it's just slightly in the shot.
I know it's show and tell, man. Show and tell. Don't be hating on my show and tell. My props. We got coffee props this week.
Coffee chat.
Karen wanted coffee props for coffee chat, so right now we have coffee props. Very hard to say over and over and over.
Don't say it over.
Coffee props. Oh God, what kind of coffee did she use?
The purple bag.
You used the A-Train blend.
Yeah, I did.
This is gonna be fun. All right.
I knew it was different than the what it came as when I would just scoop it and put it in my thing, and I was like, this is really fine.
Yeah.
And I buy this one specifically because my coffee filter does not like really fine coffee.
This one takes doing the French press with really fine coffee. You kind of got to be gentle. You got to be firm but gentle, like a good parent.
Yeah.
Not like R. Kelly.
Oh, come on. Let's not talk about R. Kelly. I'm so sick and tired. I am so sick and tired of seeing the R. Kelly shit in my newsfeed. Bitches, you knew he was like this way back when he fucking married Aaliyah's 15-year-old ass. Don't start like this is a brand new shit.
Oh, see, when I do my levels for all of my audio, you see, this is what I'm talking about. So I'll sit there and I will go through the levels and I'll try to make it, and I'll say, Karen, talk like you're talking on the podcast. And then what happens?
Blah, blah, blah.
That happens. And next thing you know, you're blown out and you're so loud, and I have to, in post, try to figure out how to fix your... Go ahead. Tell us about R. Kelly. Tell us about the reaction to the new...
Revelation that
No, this is not a revelation. This is a...
This is the documentary
this is
about girls who've survived life with R. Kelly.
Right. This is a documentary, and it just came out, and people are reacting to it.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, I saw an article on Yahoo that one of the backup dancers for Aaliyah was trying to defend her story that she saw R. Kelly and Aaliyah having sex when she was 15. Why would she need to defend that story? They married when she was 15. Of course she saw them having sex at that age.
Well, that doesn't mean she saw it.
Well,
what are you talking
it's
about?
not improbable.
Is that what happens? That people get married and all of a sudden people see them having sex?
It's not improbable that they were having sex when she was 15.
That's not something you want to see from me.
No. Because I would be there, and let's not go there. But it's not something that's improbable.
What? Did you say something?
Don't make me use your brand new tripod.
Hey, don't mess with the prop, man.
We're going to call it the corrector in a moment.
Don't mess with the prop. So, I don't know. I mean...
This stuff isn't new.
To me, this is like saying Ray Charles was blind.
Right.
It's not a... It's a thing that everybody knew. Now, one of my frat brothers made a very good comment that basically everybody failed R. Kelly. Everybody failed.
Yeah.
From the time he was little to the time to today, essentially, all these people knew what was going on with him, and they just kind of let it happen. They didn't. If they did something, whatever they did didn't work.
Right.
But it didn't stop. So they, when you think about it in those terms, it's like you're talking like all the way back to the time when he was a little kid, because he was a victim. Mm-hmm. So you're talking like all the way back there, all the way through. Nah, I'm sorry, you shouldn't. At some point, when are you bashing the victim? You see?
As a victim, I can't get with that.
What do you mean?
I've never victimized anyone.
You may never have victimized anyone, but you were still a victim. And is there a point where you would say, you are not, I don't want to say justified. You're not justified in your actions, but the reason for your actions are because of things that happened in your past. Every adult seems to, we all have that.
I have that, and I'm very clear about that because I am 100% anti-marijuana use for myself.
For no good reason.
But the only reason is because of how my parents treated it and how I was treated because of their usage.
Yes,
so that would be a justification.
But that's not really because of their usage. I'm sorry, that's not what marijuana is.
Okay, their choices then.
Right. So you're talking about something else, but and probably as a child you connected the two.
Yeah.
But in reality, that's just not. what happens. Other drugs, yes, but marijuana, nah, not really, not so much.
In my life,
Alcohol, yes.
My parents would rather go spend $30 on a bag of weed than buy us stuff for school.
Exactly.
Or buy food for us.
But is
or
that,
pay the light bill. Or.
But that's, like you said, those are just choices. Those are choices. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
I've never said that marijuana is an addiction.
But if you started to, let's say in some fictional world you became addicted to sex.
Fictional world.
See? You like how I did that. So, let's say you did. An addiction is an addiction.
Yeah.
Addictive personalities, I don't know if that's hereditary or taught. I can't speak to that, but I can say
there are studies both ways.
If you have that addictive, I know I do.
I do.
That's why I don't drink much alcohol.
Right.
You know.
Me too.
So if you know that about yourself, and then you allow, and now see, then here's the problem. Are you allowing yourself to do those things, or are you doing those things because of what happened to you when you were young? Are you going down a sex addict road because of your addictive nature, for whatever reason that nature occurs, or are you going down that road because of some external thing that happened to you when you're at one point? Be a combination of. But then who's to blame? And see, that's the thing that people are doing to me.
No,
it wasn't me. You was like that when I found you.
It's true. Whoever is a grown person, if I make the choice, if I make these choices and I go down that road of being an addict of whatever the substance or the activity is, I am making that choice. My past did not dictate my current choice.
No. It doesn't dictate it, but does it contribute to it?
Does it have some factor in the fact that you made that choice?
Maybe, but
see, that's
I'm
just
still
it.
making
So then,
the
at
choice.
what point?
I'm still conscious of the choice.
At what point? Everybody's conscious, though. This is not a problem of working. Like I'm sure that let's say a pedophile, an actual blown out pedophile. Don't care the reason. This is a pedophile. Let's choose a Catholic priest. They're a pedophile. They've been doing it for years. I'm sure they realize that something's wrong. They are not unconscious. They do realize that maybe even in their own teachings, they realize that this is against what they're espousing to all these people in front of them every week, right?
But then they can't control them.
Right. So it's not about just choice. It is about they do realize it, but there's a compulsion there. And is that compulsion, does that cross behavior, does that cross into, say, like substance abuse or whatever, or just substance taking, because you don't have to abuse it in order to do it too much.
Right.
That's not really abuse. If I did one drink a day, I would consider myself an alcoholic if I then needed it. Once I started to need it, I would consider myself an alcoholic. Right. So that's why I don't drink one drink a day.
Right.
And I don't drink one drink every Friday. I don't do one drink every Saturday. It's very random, and it's all, how long have we had? We had that special Modelo for how long?
Months.
Isn't there still some in there?
There's like one.
Yeah, there's one, and there's a couple in the fridge, right?
No, there's one.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
it's not like we sit around and we drink.
No,
I mean, we wouldn't even drink a six-pack in a month.
What's the reason for the drinking? See, that's just it. And so then when you talk about being conscious, you're drinking, you're sitting here and you say, oh, I have a taste for a beer today. Or, oh, I have a taste for fajitas today. That's the way we drink.
Yep, because I was eating the Johnsonville chicken sausages, or turkey sausages.
Bad.
And I wanted beer with it because that's what you have.
Right. So you were really choosing conscious choice, right?
Yeah.
But I guess...
And I didn't even drink the whole beer.
Right. I'm wondering as a society, as a culture, when we look at people like Kelly, a priest, somebody who is on Skid Row and they're taking some drug or whatever, and that's where all their time and energy goes into getting that thing. Do we just have an addictive nature as human beings? Because we're not the only people on the planet that do these things.
No.
People all over the world have their particular drug of choice, whatever that drug happens to be. They have their own way of taking it. They have their own culture surrounding it. That might be a youth culture. It might be a middle-aged culture. It might be a work culture. It might be lots of things, because coffee is one of those things.
And I can live without
the Industrial
coffee.
Revolution was built on top of this.
Yep.
So, I mean, is it just us? And
No.
and I'm not trying to let people off the hook, and I'm definitely not trying to let R. Kelly off the hook. I'm just saying that is it us as humans that are have something within us that wants to be attached to a thing, and then we find a thing to attach ourselves to, and the reason that we find that thing might be all the other factors around us that guide us from childhood to adulthood.
And I'm going to say
Or teenager
absolutely
years.
yes, because I have a friend right now who is in the process of a divorce, and all she can talk about is how she wants another man. And I'm like, but why are you so addicted to this? This is your addiction. And she doesn't see it. She doesn't see that her need is unhealthy. Her need, her compulsion is not good for her or her kids or her family. And she's not seeing that is her addiction. And when I point out, this is your addiction, she's like, no, I just want to be loved and I want to have this. And yeah.
Well, maybe she's more like you. She loves puppies and babies and kittens. As soon as they grow out of that stage, she wants new puppies, babies, and kittens. She likes the beginning of the relationship. She likes the courting part of the relationship. She likes the newness of a new relationship, but then she doesn't know what keeping that relationship going actually means.
Maybe.
For her.
Maybe.
What that happens to be. And then when it gets to a point where it's like,
bumpy.
I made really bad decisions at the beginning of this relationship in choosing this person because I didn't know what I wanted in the middle and the end of just the duration of the relationship. I didn't know what that was. So that's why I made certain decisions at the beginning, and then that's why I'm finding what I keep finding.
Yeah.
So, because the only way that gets fixed is you actually have to do what both of us did. You have to identify what is it that you want. What is it that you want?
Yep. Yeah.
Going forward, what do you see from a relationship 5 years in, 10 years in? Start thinking about that when you have nobody, because that's going to change who you talk to, where you go, the kind of people that you associate with. That's going to change. It's going to change everything because of you. You know that the guy or the girl, the man or the woman that is what you're talking about later on. They're not going to necessarily grow into that person. They have to kind of already be on a track to becoming that person.
Yep.
So, and if you're not on that track to becoming the mate of that person, well, you're going to be letting them down as well as them. It's not all just you. So, yeah, I would say that, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to how we deal with what you see and you want, it's sometimes it's going to be different than what you actually are ready to deal with.
Yeah. Well, and I've had people say, especially people who knew my ex-husband and knew me with my ex-husband, they will say, you and Aaron are so happy together. You guys fit so well together. Don't you regret wasting all that time with the other guy? And in the beginning, maybe the first 5 years after my divorce, I would have said yes. But now I say no. 18 years later, I know that I wouldn't have been the same person I was when we met, and I wouldn't have been the person for you before.
Yeah, you're talking about growth.
Yeah,
You had to grow.
I changed completely.
Yeah, but see, if you call it change, then people make it seem
grew.
like you made an active choice to not do or be a certain way.
I did make an active choice.
Did you, or did you
did.
grow and find out the choices that you had made were not the best choices for you?
Both.
So then you stopped making those choices.
Yes. I started
But I
actively
don't call
seeking.
that. See, I don't call that change. I call that growth.
Okay. I say it's both, because I changed who I was around, and I changed where I went, and I made different choices in different situations that I would have previously, because I didn't want to repeat the same mistakes. I was very conscious about this didn't work out, and why didn't it work out. I took time to reflect and say, yeah, I probably wasn't right in a lot of these situations, but he wasn't either. And it's nobody's fault. We just grew apart. But I didn't want to make that same mistake again. And as far as being a victim,
Yeah, but
I
what
didn't
was the
want to
actual?
do that thing to someone
That's
else.
just it. You say you don't want to make that mistake, but outside of not liking men, the mistake you're talking about is what? What's the mistake?
The mistake for me was not being true to myself and trying to be somebody that he thought I should be.
So in other words, it had nothing to do with him.
No.
Right.
Had
And
everything to
that's
do with me.
But that's just it. People seem to think that that the person is wrong because the person is wrong for them, not realizing
No.
that the choice and the fact that you chose the wrong person,
Yeah.
that's the thing you need to consider.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing you need to think about. Why do you keep choosing that person?
Right. And that was something I didn't want to do. Like when I was dating in high school, and I always went for the thug type guy. Super hot, always into rap music and in cars and saggy pants and whatever. I just was attracted
In high school.
in high school. Then I got to college, and I was like, okay, I'm in college. These guys can't even have a conversation with me. I'm done. I can't go there. If you can't talk to me about what I'm working with right now at 17, you're probably not going to in the next 2 years. So what's the point? And then I met someone who was smarter than me and challenged me, and then I was like, okay, that's what I need. And maybe at that time I did, but 3 years in, 4 years in, I knew and told people the only reason I was staying was because I knew that there was stability. I knew that there was
You're talking
possibility.
about financial. What
Well,
kind of
not-
stability are you
Both
talking about?
financial and emotional, and there was stability in that relationship, even though it wasn't stable.
Okay, that didn't make sense then.
It wasn't like we fought, we argued, but there was the potential for so much.
The potential.
Mm-hmm.
But that means there was no stability.
I thought at that time there was stability. And when I reflected after the divorce, I was like, what the hell were you thinking? Why did you think that this was a stable relationship when all you did was argue and fight? You were supporting him. And the
Okay.
whole time you were supporting him, you thought it was, you're doing this so that once he finished college, then he would be able to support you and blah, blah. And that never happened.
Okay, so you're saying that you were disillusioned?
I
What do you say-
disillusioned myself.
Oh God, you disillusioned yourself?
Yeah, I believed
Does that cause physical pain?
Sometimes.
To
I
disillusion yourself?
believed the lie that I was telling everyone else. And when we got divorced, I decided that I wasn't going to be that person ever again. I wanted to be me, but I didn't even know who I was at that point because I had been trying to be somebody else for so long. And I think when I talk to my friend, I encourage her to find out who she really is and quit trying to fit into these molds where she doesn't fit. to make other people happy.
Yeah, but how do you know you don't fit into a mold until
She
you try
knows.
until you try to fit into it?
Oh, well, she knows, and she's very aware of it, but she still tries to cram herself in.
Yeah, but isn't that the kind of what we do?
Human nature.
Mm-hmm. We tend to try to fit ourselves in, and
until you get to the point where you're like, why am I doing this?
yeah, but then you might be 50
or older.
Might be. All right.
Hi, Pumpkin. Are you learning lots of stuff?
No, I kind of zoned out there for a second.
He wasn't even listening.
Because I had nothing to say.
But this is great advice for you for when you get older.
Anyway.
In about 20 years when you start dating.
No, he gonna have some trap girl.
Excuse me, say what now?
That's what he's into.
No.
Tico Bitty's trap music.
I don't like trap music. Do not put that out there.
Do
not put that out there.
A little EDM.
I can tolerate
a little 8-bit sound effects. Oh, got him.
That's different than trap music.
No, but you could put that in your trap music.
No. I have like 4 trap songs that I can tolerate sometimes.
You hear them, ladies. All right.
You know, it's
you had more. You had more.
Yeah. Okay.
What you got?
This week there was an article put out by the Business Insider that the U.S. government is warning Americans that if they visit China, they may not be able to return home.
Uh-huh.
And so, of course, I went and read the entire article because I had been tagged in it several times. Mm-hmm. And what it comes down to is a lot of this is all the political trade war nonsense. And now these Americans are afraid, oh no, I just booked tickets to go to China and I might not be able to leave and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And someone made a good point and said, did you see the last section of the article? Because most people read the headlines of these things and they never go in.
Right.
And she said, other countries or regions with the level 2 advisory, which is what China has, include Algeria, Antarctica, Belgium, France, Germany, Denmark, Myanmar, and the UK. Who the hell is detaining people in Antarctica?
I think that's more about glacier movement. I think that might be the problem in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Or the lack of ice.
So the thing is like, I'm reading all these comments, and this woman said, I was there over the summer, and they detained me because they didn't detain her. They held her and wouldn't let her leave until she paid a fee because she had overstayed her visa by 5 days. And she used the word petty when she was talking about it. And I was like, overstaying your visa in any country isn't petty.
It's normal.
It's illegal.
Right.
You have to pay.
You overstayed.
And she wanted to go on and argue, and I'm like, you're crazy.
We've had overstays because it was a holiday and we couldn't leave.
Right. In Thailand, that happened a number of times where they would have a Thai holiday during the week, and the only times you could go to Penang on these buses to get your visa renewed were like Wednesday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And if you fell into that holiday between those times, you're screwed because...
Unless you went the week before, which you kind of don't want to do.
Right, because then you're wasting days. So I've overstayed, I don't even know, maybe 3 or 5 times in Thailand. And it was never a big deal. They would say, oh, it was during the holiday, or... one time I actually was really, really sick and didn't realize my visa had run out. And they said, no big deal. Just pay the fine.
Right.
Okay, great.
Pay the fine.
And the best thing about Thailand is no matter how many days you overstay, the maximum you will pay is 20,000 baht, which is not much money. That's $600.
That's if you overstayed.
It's 500 baht per day.
Right.
So that's 40 days. You'd have to be more than a month overstay, which...
And then it caps.
Yeah.
And then you might as well just stay. You might as well not leave.
right? Because
you're going to pay the same amount. So
yeah.
then it's just no point.
Right. So there are of all these people who are saying, you know, I can't go there now because the State Department has raised the level warning and they blah 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 blah. People, get out and see the world.
Yeah, but
that didn't mean anything.
Right. No.
The level 2 warning is nothing.
Okay, level 2 warning is something to people who don't travel.
Oh.
Anything warning, any kind of warning scares people.
Weren't we at a level 4 during the military coup?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that we were. But
you're saying that there was a level 4 warning for a country that we happened to be in. But the real problems that were happening were not in the part of the country we were in.
Right.
Well, you don't know that if you're just traveling somewhere unless you're really following the news.
Right. I would say if you're planning on traveling somewhere that you've never been before and there's a State Department warning, which there most likely is, ask somebody who's there who was recently there whether you should be concerned.
Yeah, because
being
in Phuket was like not being in Thailand.
Right.
And in some ways, it wasn't like mainland. It was a different place, and had its own kind of world to it. So,
you crazy cat.
Cat, that's called glass.
He wants to be in the sunlight. It's just.
He don't want to be in the sunlight. He want to walk. He want to just look out the window.
What's
cat stopwatch? What's with the stopwatch?
Yeah.
He thought I was gonna rant.
No. I just want to know how long we've been going. There's nothing on the setup that tells us how long we've been going.
We haven't been going for 5 minutes.
No, that's 5 minutes plus 25. So, I started at 25 minutes.
Yeah, I had to explain that while we were in Phuket, I really want to say it was like a level 4. It was very scary for a lot of our friends and family. They were asking us questions every day because it's on the news that there's civil unrest and there's a military coup and it's dangerous and don't go there.
And parts of the country, that was true.
Right, Bangkok, it was like that.
But it was like that in Bangkok only on certain streets.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that everywhere.
Because one of our friends was actually in Bangkok when that bombing happened at at the temple, and she had been there the day before. No, in Bangkok. Oh. She had been there the day before, and she said it was peaceful, and there are just tourists everywhere. And then the next day, there was an explosion at the temple, which can happen anywhere at any time, any part of the world.
Good.
I mean, they prove that every day. But we had to explain to our friends and family then that just because something's happening in the uppermost part of the country doesn't mean it's happening in the southernmost part of the country.
And it's funny because that's the case in the United States.
Yeah.
Something could be jumping off in Missouri outside of St. Louis. They'll say St. Louis and ain't nowhere near St. Louis. And then everybody, it's, I'm so worried about Missouri. It's like, well, if you just went, 5 minutes down the road from there.
You'd never even know.
Yeah, you would never know outside of turning on the news. So, yeah, I don't.
Well, someone responded to one of my comments that they were afraid to go to Mexico because of all the warnings about Mexico, because Mexico is so dangerous. And I just kind of laughed, like, but I'm in Mexico right now. Yes, there are dangerous parts of the country, but not every single city, every single area is dangerous.
It could be.
It could be.
But also our behavior is such that we're not going out on the weekends. We're not going out at night.
No.
We're not going to places where people from,
we're not
all walks of life are going outside of the mall.
Right. I mean, it's not like we go to the clubs or the bars or any of that. We just
So we're not, it's, China kind of fixed that problem.
Yeah.
Because in China, you were a target.
Yeah, but
men were a target in China.
Oh, men were a target. Women weren't. Men were a target.
You pretty much just
it
chose
was
not
the
to
further
go.
south you went.
Huh?
Central China and south is men were targets. Northeastern China, you were not a target.
Yeah, but we didn't go. We still didn't go out.
Well, where the hell were we gonna
go? Exactly. There was nowhere to go.
The little dive bar down the street. That's where we went.
So, but that could have. Think about it. Think about the walk home from that place.
Yeah.
Late night.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Almost no street lights.
And no people.
Well, that meant it could have been quite dangerous.
And a 17-acre park across the street.
The park didn't matter. The park was never the problem. It was the fact that there were so many people that lived around there.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the park across the street is a great place to hide if you want to harm someone and get away with it.
It could have been, but it was, So I guess you have to look at your behavior. I've always said, and this is in the United States, it doesn't matter. I've always said, if you want to find it, and if that's the thing you're looking for, right, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
You want to find drugs in China, you'll find it. You want to find guns in China, you'll find it.
Yep.
If that's your thing, you will find it because that's
we had
what
that
you're looking for.
One teacher we worked with in Wuhan, and he came to me because I was the cooking teacher. I don't know any other reason why he would come to me with this, but he asked me if I knew how to make a bong out of food, like out of a piece of fruit or
like an apple.
Yeah, or a eggplant, or. I just looked at him like, what? Why would I know that?
Doesn't everybody know how to make a bong out of fruit?
No.
What? I didn't even know that was a fucking thing.
Well, don't you just need a container and something to light? Isn't that all you need?
A bong is a bong. One side to pull and one side to light.
It makes sense if you could make it out of food, because then you get the flavor of the food.
That's why they do it.
Essentially.
Or
then you have apple flavor or watermelon flavor or.
Oh God, whatever. A watermelon bong! Could you imagine the number of straws on a watermelon bong? That'd be awesome.
It looked like a freaking porcupine.
You take like the watermelon, turn it on its end, and then core down, then drill holes into the sides and put straws in, and you could have it'd be like a hookah. Hookah. Not a hookah.
No, that's
a hookah is a different thing.
Different
the way you use straws with a hookah is a totally different thing.
What?
All kinds of education today.
I don't want to learn about that.
So yeah.
I
don't know. As far as worrying about traveling, worrying about going places, I guess you should be aware. I would focus more on the politics of the place but that's what I did. I would focus on the politics and the cultural norms and the things like that. Because, if you watch popular culture, you would think Hong Kong is just like this seedy ass, like Shanghai.
Right.
Hong Kong, this super seedy ass place where, you could walk down the street and somebody's going to do kung fu against you and take your wallet. And if you watch popular culture.
Right. But Hong Kong is not like that at all. And neither is Shanghai.
Hong Kong feels more like, I don't know, America or England or Canada. It doesn't feel like any of those other things. It doesn't even feel like it's part of China in most ways. So, I don't know. I guess learning about the place, getting to know the place a little bit better, and then trying to be aware. Be aware of the place, the culture of the place, because... Like, if you were going to say, I'm really scared about going to this small town in northeastern China, it's like, but people in northeastern China are pretty much in their homes
by 9 o'clock.
By like 9 o'clock.
They're up
there's like really nothing for you to do.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something to do, that ain't your place. If you're looking for safety, that might be your place.
Hell yeah.
So you had Beer Boy here running down to the market, getting beer and cigarettes. At what age? How old were you? How old were you when you bought your first cigarettes?
9.
See? Couldn't do that in the States.
First beer.
So what's safer?
Died.
You know, but he could do that there. So I guess I don't know. It has something to do with just the way we think of safety and the way everything. I mean, it's like what was happening after 9/11. And they had those colors, and everybody was on alert, and they were telling everybody to watch out for what? What are you going to watch out for?
Right.
I'm going to watch out for the guy that might be in an airplane?
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be scared of every airplane that goes over? It became nonsensical. But they wanted this heightened awareness and fear because that promoted a certain political agenda.
But that's what they're doing now.
And that's what they're doing now. And it's promoting this trade thing, you know, because if you're afraid to go there, maybe you're afraid to buy their stuff, and maybe you're afraid to, you know, if you work for a company and you find out that the manufacturing hub for that company is, say, in some part of China, then all of a sudden now you were afraid to go there, and you're gonna maybe make different business decisions. And I get that. I get the propaganda. I get how it can be used. Yeah. But I guess I just don't get why, like, people that are just going to be tourists, why they are worried. But that is like what happened after 9/11. People were worried. You know, you had people worried in Grand Raggedy. You had people actually worried that something was going to happen to them while they went to work in Grand Raggedy. And most people don't know where Grand Raggedy is. They don't care about Grand Raggedy.
Well, wasn't that only because of the one plant that made all the space stuff?
It still doesn't matter. You think somebody's nuking Grand Raggedy? Like, of all the targets that you have in the world, you're going after Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hell no. Little one-horse fucking town. Man, please.
No.
One horse with one light.
I think one of the saddest statistics that I've learned over the years is that only 13% of Americans have passports. And of that 13% that have them, only 2% actually ever use them. Whereas someplace like the UK, 90-something% of the public has a passport, and 86% of them use it.
But they're also next...
I mean, I get it. There's easier access.
You're truly... I mean, even before the whole... EU, UK, that allowed them to move really easily throughout those countries and to work. Yeah. But before all of that, I've heard stories recently where people were talking about when the wall was up in Germany and how they used to go across the wall. Yep. Like, they're from England, and they would go to the other side of the wall for a day trip. Yeah. And then come back and see what it was like over there, and they would buy things, and so it's like if a time was dangerous, you would think that, you know, the idea of a wall and people trying to get out of those areas, and people coming in just for fun and going back and knowing that it's like fun because it's dangerous. Right. Come on now. Yep. And people are worried about some crap that comes from the State Department that, you know, it's like gives you an excuse to say, oh, I'm just not going to go. Yeah. And I think that's where the problem comes in. Well, and Americans are so afraid of everything. Yeah, but we have reason to be afraid because America has never really had any major attack in America. So Americans, like, non-military people, don't feel when we're at war, even though we've been, like, essentially at war my entire life. Somewhere in the world we've had some kind of action somewhere in the world. We don't feel it, right? You know, it doesn't affect our daily life at all. No, you know, I mean, we haven't even, like, our parents would have gone through, or our grandparents would have gone through, like, rationing and things like that, World War I and stuff. We didn't go through anything like that with any of the, well, when they were kids, they would have had rationing. Yeah. World War II didn't have the rationing that World War I had. I hate to tell you. Well, they didn't. My grandmother did. Well, no, World War II had the rationing. World War I didn't have the rationing. My grandmother did because
in England, they couldn't get butter.
Not
or
England.
sugar.
We're not in England. We're talking about the United States.
But my
We're not talking about
grandmother
England.
did
See,
that.
in England, in Europe, they had bombings. They had real threat. We have never really had that, and all we ever
Since the Revolutionary War,
well,
we've
all
not
we
had that.
no the Civil War, but the only thing that we ever turn back to is 9/11.
Yeah.
So everything for us is like it's like a brand new experience for us as a country. Like to think about some event in the past that was so horrible that affected like the whole country at the same time. Yeah, what other event do we have like that?
We don't.
The Cubs winning the World Series? I mean, what else? What do we have?
We don't.
We don't.
We don't.
Okay, so, that's why Americans are fearful, because they were told to be fearful of the entire world after 9/11.
Well, another issue that always just kills me is how entitled Americans feel. They think that when they travel, that their rights as Americans are the same in another country. And so when this woman said, I was held for this petty thing, I overstayed 5 days, that's not petty. You broke the law. And she said somebody else was detained because they did something. They wouldn't even tell them what they did for 72 hours and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, lady, you are not in your country. And that is why a lot of countries don't like American tourists. Because we have this sense of entitlement, this sense of...
Yeah, but we're
assholes too.
Yeah, but we also are because we're assholes, I would say, in one sense, but then in a lot of other things, we're like super like aware that we're the outsider, and then we become more polite.
Hyper
So
polite.
you become like because if you had that sense of entitlement, you wouldn't be extra polite to the person who messed up your reservation. Like the hotel. We don't go into a hotel and be like, what is this bullshit? Why don't I have my stuff? But the people that live there, they do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of we are a certain way, and I think we talk a good game. If I was in that situation, I would. No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
You're not going to stand in front of the Chinese guy inside the booth when you're at immigration that just told you that you need to go over there. You're not going to sit there and yell at that guy.
You're just going to take your stuff and go over there.
Right. Because...
It's not, one, it's not worth it. Two, it's not going to solve any problems.
Oh, trust me. Anybody who does not travel does not know that it's not worth it. But the guy standing there with the AK... He's the reason why you're going to take your ass.
Look, I have only ever one time in my life made a scene anywhere, and it was in China, and it was because they were trying to charge me 600 yuan for my carry-on bag that I didn't pay for when I went, but when I was trying to leave, this one particular person wanted to charge me 600 yuan for my bag. And I was like, I'm about to be Chinese. And I made a scene. And I got my bag on for free. And they apologized to me and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you better do it publicly. Because this asshole is trying to steal money from me. And I'm not having it. I've been in this country too long. I know the rules. That's the only time I've ever done it. And it wasn't me being an American. It was like, I'm going to act like the locals do. Right. Because my friends have said to me, you do what we do, and you will be fine. But isn't that the case in every country? Yeah, but Americans don't know that because they don't get out. I don't think that's Americans. I think that's people that don't travel. Okay, fair enough. Okay, because people that don't travel, they're all going to have whatever ideas about that other place cooked up from popular culture, movies, music, TV, the news, the internet now. They're going to have, that's where all their ideas are going to come from. So, I think yesterday, somebody said they kept making statements because that's what the news had said about China, and we kept coming back like, no, it's not really like that. No, right. And we get the nuance
that that's what they're telling you, but that's not really what's actually really going on because everybody's got an agenda essentially.
Yeah.
Every country has a reason, so what's the reason for Mexico to say something negative about China? There's got to be some kind of reason behind that.
Yeah.
But what is it? What if it's just not negativity? What if it's just giving you an impression like it's not so great over there?
Right.
That's enough to keep a person that doesn't travel at home.
Right. Yep.
It's enough, because I would say before Anthony Bourdain, we were like that. We were like, we'll just keep making our space as good as we can make it.
Right.
Whatever we can afford, we'll fix our house up, we'll fix the flooring, we'll do whatever we can do as slow as we, and we make it inside of this fence, we'll make it as good as we can make it, because that's what you're thinking about.
Right. And
but then when you
saw Anthony Bourdain, I'm like, but I want to go there.
Yeah, you start seeing places like, wait a minute. You can go to that place? Like, I didn't even know that Americans could even go. It's like, well, why can't you go?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it becomes, they eat that there?
I want to try that.
I wonder what that's like. And then it's like, oh, well, that place is pretty cool, and you can ride up that mountain on that thing, and wow, there's a whole lot of stuff out there.
Yeah.
And and if you do the thing like we were talking about the other day, if you watch Ken Burns National Parks, if you watch, there's a thing narrated by Tom Selleck called North America.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Those two things would not only, like, Ken Burns is focusing on the United States National Parks. So that's one place where you can go and you could explore inside of the country.
Yep.
Okay. No passport needed. Then you start looking at North America. Well, guess what? North America is Mexico, Canada, and the United States. So all of a sudden now you've expanded yourself out just a little bit.
Yeah.
And see, I think once people start doing that, then it becomes infectious. It's like getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
Or trying to eat one Pringle. You now.
Who does that?
Nobody. So now you are extending yourself a little bit more. It's like playing like when we play Subnautica and Breathage. It's you keep going out just a teeny bit further. You push the envelope just a teeny bit more, and then you come back home. And then you go back out again. And you just keep doing that back and forth, back and forth. But imagine if you did that, what we've done is we left the United States and we went as far as you can go without coming back.
Yeah.
Okay, that was our first trip.
Yep.
Outside of the Caribbean and Canada.
Right.
But that was essentially our first trip. We hadn't been to Mexico yet.
Nope.
Okay, hadn't been to really the West Coast much.
Nope.
Hadn't seen a lot of the
west
of the Mississippi for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I lived west of the Mississippi, but that doesn't count. But yeah, this idea that you need to be afraid, stay at home, stay in your bubble, stay in your lane.
Yep.
Don't go and find out about anything and just rely on news sources and Facebook and your friends' vacation pictures to be the thing that informs you about the world. Yeah, that's just a bad idea.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is go there,
Yeah.
go there, go see it. Even if it's inside of the United States, go.
Right.
Because once you start going, you're not gonna really stop.
Right.
You're gonna keep going because you're gonna meet people that are gonna be like, oh man, this is so cool, and somebody's gonna come to you and go, yeah, it's really cool. It reminds me of this place in Malaysia where what? There's a place like this in Malaysia.
Yeah.
There is.
Yep. Somebody had posted some pictures from Bogota, some street art from Bogota. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much like Penang. And they're like, what is Penang? And I said, it's this little island in Malaysia, and it's right across the Thai border. And it is so cool because there's all this street art, and you walk around the city, and it was just super cool. And they were like, I want to go to Malaysia.
Yeah.
Because now they have, they want to connect the dots. And that's something that we've tried to do for Aaron and Keegan get them out and get them to see the world. Keegan's gotten to this point where, over the last few years, where she wants to settle down, is what she basically keeps saying. She wants a space that can be hers, that she can decorate the way she wants, and she knows that, we're not going to move in a year. And I just looked at her and said, you can have that when you grow up.
No, man, what you do is you need decorations that can move with you.
Which is what we've been collecting for her.
We started doing that here.
Right.
We didn't do that in all the other places. So now, everything that we have is basically meant to be broken down and shipped.
Yeah. And like Aaron, he's getting ready. He's got to start thinking about where he wants to go to school and what he wants to study and which countries. And I really, this is so sad and pathetic, but I started crying the other night when we were listening to the Rachel Maddow show, and they were talking about the 2020 election, and she was interviewing Elizabeth Warren, who's running for president next, and it hit me that two will be voting in that election, and I'm just like, oh no, that means he has to sign up for the civil service.
Yes.
And that just broke my heart. And he doesn't have a choice.
You know me now, boy. Bye-bye.
It breaks my heart that he's going to be a grown up.
Okay.
So where do you want to go to school? What country?
I don't know.
Choose one where it's free.
Do you have an idea of a country?
No.
Have you thought about it before?
No.
Don't say no.
Oh, no,
you
don't
actually
say no.
have.
You have.
Stop, don't lie to the people now.
Ireland is the only one I've thought about. That's the only one I've
And
thought
what
about.
have you
I
done
haven't
to
thought about
prepare
any
yourself
other
for Ireland?
place.
Not enough.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did you do anything to prepare yourself to go to school in Ireland?
I don't know. I mean, I started learning some Irish, but I don't know what going to Ireland means. I don't know what that entails. I don't
Yeah,
know
but
what's
you know
gonna
what?
be
Honestly,
there. I
if
can't
you've never
prepare
been there
myself for
before,
that.
you don't know what any place going there means.
I mean, I can't prepare myself for that except for learning the language. That's it. That's all I can do.
Well, you have some other popular culture. You can sound.
Do you watch anything? Do you listen to anybody that's from Ireland?
Yes.
Jack.
Jack?
Jack.
Jack's
Like Jack in the Box?
No, Jacksepticeye.
And
See, you're doing the not talking thing because they can't really
Oh.
hear you. See, this is the thing I was talking about. Okay, he's going to say that again.
Okay, I watched Jacksepticeye
Why would you do that?
because he's funny.
Okay.
And
Do you do anything else or see anything else that's Irish?
we sometimes watch Mrs. Brown's Boys, which is a TV show.
Anything else?
Not really.
What about the facts people?
The who?
There's another YouTube channel. That's
So
There's
you're
another-
learning about
there's another
Ireland
YouTube-
through YouTube.
Yeah, there's another YouTube channel where it's all Irish.
The
Have you
Irish
tried-
people trying stuff.
Have you done anything to find out about Irish history?
Not really.
See? So you're relying on one source.
Yeah, but that one source, YouTube, could give him everything he needs if he looked it up.
Well, it could. But see, I think that is the American thing. What you just saw is what happens to Americans. We're like, okay, like, do you feel that you know Ireland at this point?
No.
By listening to them
And knowing, having friends from there, and
You have friends from Ireland too?
One.
Who?
Jenny.
It's a girl?
Oh my god.
There's a girl in this
she's not
story?
a girl. She's
There's
a
not,
woman.
it's not a girl?
She's a woman. She's not a girl.
It's a woman! Whoa.
Okay, you know this already.
But they don't know this.
Okay, in Thailand, one of mommy's friends
Nope.
is from Ireland.
One of daddy's. She met daddy first.
We worked at the same place. We didn't work at the same school. We worked for the same company.
She's from Ireland.
So you do know some people. Well, you know, you have an in. How about that? You have the ability to get more information that would be accurate about that particular place.
I don't even know if I want to go to Ireland anymore. That was when we were in Thailand.
I know. So where do you want to go?
I don't know.
Well, guess what?
I have no.
The new term starts tomorrow, which means one of your things is to start doing research about colleges and where you want to go. Isn't homeschooling fun?
No.
People have misconceptions about what it means to homeschool or world school your children in our lifestyle.
Well, this is going to be like an audition tape.
Really?
Think about it. A podcast is your video, you're talking. They can hear they can listen to your arguments. This is auditioning right now. You're interviewing for potential schools right here.
I have no arguments.
When you talk about things, you like it, why do you like it, what are your reasons behind it, blah, 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 blah. See, they're looking at you. Say hi. Wave. Go ahead and do your waves now. Come on, do it.
Come on, do the
That's
happy
for
cat.
the end.
Oh, that's for the end.
That's for the end.
All right, so
It's
what
not
else do
the
we have
happy
that came
cat.
from the people? Anything else that came from the people?
Well,
I thought we had something else.
the only thing I had was someone contacted me today to find out about how to start their process, because I commented on an article on the Travel Noir page.
Say that again.
Travel Noir.
Okay.
They have a Facebook page. They also have a website, and it's an e-magazine. And they did an article about a Facebook friend of mine, and I had commented on it, and I started getting all these questions about how can they leave the United States, and how can they do this, because a lot of times in these articles they don't say how people make money. And clearly you're not just going to go.
Make money.
Right, because they're like, oh, this couple took their 2 children and they're traveling the world and they're world schooling their children and blah, 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 and here are all the things that they're doing, but they never say how they're bankrolling this. And a lot of times people are doing simple things like teaching English online, because you can do it from anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter where you are. The student's always in the same place.
Right.
You just have to make sure your timeline, you're on the right time zone. So they're asking, how do we bankroll this? And I'm like, we're teachers. We're at what are considered EdPats, which is a new term that's been coined in the last 3 or 4 years. EdPat is the new label for what we do.
Is that the new way of calling new term for backpacker?
No. No.
EdPat.
EdPat is someone who goes and lives in a country for a year or more and teaches.
No.
So,
No.
EdPat.
No. Expat.
We are expats, but we are also EdPats.
I'm old school like that.
So I just explained it, how we did it, and I shared the links to our blog. So if you're looking for how you do it, go to January 2018. There's a whole article about how you can start your journey. And
on the Blueberry.
On the Blueberry. And there's also a podcast, a follow-up podcast from March of 2018, where we talk about what to look for in contracts and such. So I've had a lot of these questions this week. I think mostly because of the government shutdown, and a lot of these people are government employees. One woman said she got her dream job as working for the government, and now she's about to lose her house if she doesn't get paid soon, because she's in that kind of precarious situation. So she said, I'm a teacher, I'm a former teacher. How can I do this outside of the country? And she's a licensed teacher on top of that, which that's like teaching gold in many countries, because for some reason they want certified teachers.
Which means nothing in that new country.
Yeah, absolutely nothing.
It means nothing. Unless you're working for an American school in that country,
right.
It means nothing.
And so
it doesn't translate over.
Right. I've had a lot of questions like that this week, mostly prompted by what's going on in the U.S.
It's like saying you have a master's degree. So what?
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know someone who says, I have a master's degree, but and she's a teacher, but her master's degree is in like hospitality. So it doesn't really
matter.
My
translate
master's
over.
degree is being nice to people.
It really doesn't. Teacher education is important, I would say, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's sort of a racket because to be a good teacher, you kind of have to teach. And if you know a certain subject matter well, then you could potentially pass your knowledge on to someone else.
Yeah.
The problem is, do you know how to take what you know and break it down to the point that where the student is so that they can learn what it is that you're trying to bring to them.
Yep.
If you can't do that, then you're not supposed to be teaching.
Right.
If you can do that, then you don't need a master's degree.
Nope.
Because a master's degree doesn't teach you how to do that. So
No.
it's just not a. I mean, it really isn't. I have the real problem with higher ed acting as if master's degrees mean I'm going to be better at my job, because that is not what. That's not even why you're going to school.
No.
You're going to school because the job requires a higher degree for whatever reason, because somebody thought at some point that we need to keep these other people out. So we make it more exclusive. Okay, that's fine, because that's a job's prerogative.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to know how to do it well. Almost every job that you get in this world today, you have to be trained on the job.
Yep.
So if that's the case, I can take, and I have done this, a room full of people who are not very good teachers and get them to understand what they need to be considering so that they can be better teachers in the environment that they were in.
Yep.
Now, for me, that was Thailand. But that they don't even give classes like that.
Yes, but no, they don't. But one of your students from that class has now gone back to her home country and taken more teacher classes because of your class. Because she realized that she wasn't equipped to do what she was doing, but she still wanted to teach. And so she went back to get more education.
I mean, getting education, this is where the whole, as far as this is where I used to say this to people all the time. The library is free. All the same books that you're going to need are in the library. They're all there. All you have to do is go there and read the books. There is no other.
But some people don't learn just by reading.
Yeah, I know, but when you go to university, that's all you do. See, at the university,
some lectures in there.
They talk at you.
Lecture.
You see what I'm saying? So when you're talking about education K through 12, that's when the teacher is doing a whole lot of work on the back end or on the front end so that they can craft lessons that are going to be relevant to you, your age group, and your subject matter.
Right.
But at the university level, that is not what they're doing.
No.
They don't care about any of those things.
Nope.
All they care about is, I know this thing, you don't know this thing, I'm going to tell you this thing. Okay, then what do I do with that? Then take your ass back home and read now.
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
Yes.
you could have gotten all that education right there in the library. Your local library, because your local library can get all the same books because they can move the books through their system. So that means maybe you don't walk in and walk home with the book that day.
Well,
maybe they send it to you, or
here's
today,
what
you
order it online,
right,
and then they will send you an email saying your book is now in your local branch, and then you just go pick it up.
Or you go to Google Books and you read the damn things all for free. I mean, it's just. We have no reasons today, like, the what are they called? It's not free. In England, they have Open University.
They have it in Australia now, too.
See, this idea of Open University, this is what's making you, this is what should convince you that all the other education is a racket. It's a racket for you to get a particular piece of paper that says you got a thing that then other countries don't even believe is real.
Well, and Open University in England has been going on for a very,
Yes.
very, very long time because we used to watch a television show from the 90s. And in the television show, the one couple they were pretty poor and they weren't very smart. But during the day, because he didn't work, he would watch Open University on television.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a point when his wife says to him, "You have got to stop watching this stuff," because she didn't understand what he was saying because he was learning so much, sitting on his sofa, drinking beer, eating crisps, watching TV.
Did you say crisps?
Chips.
Did you really say crisps?
Crisps.
The hell, where you from? What set you claiming? The fuck is wrong with you?
What's that you claiming?
Man, you talking about some crisps. No, we don't eat no damn crisps.
They do in England.
Shit, most
No,
motherfuckers
they
can't
eat
even
chips.
say. Yeah, they
No,
eat
chips
chips.
or fries.
Stop it.
Oh my god.
In England, they're fries.
Let's move along, cause
Let's get into this for a second, though.
way.
We have this.
Let's get into
We have this. The company that owns our school is British.
Wait.
So
Wait.
Is that Frida on that mug?
Yes,
that's
it is.
free on that mug.
Continue.
Came with my abuelita.
Frida.
So we have a mixture of American and British curriculum in the classroom, and so we do this Cambridge, Cambridge listening. So I have a workbook, and the kids have to listen, and they have to follow along the workbook, right? So on page 1 of this section, the thing said, oh, there's so and so, and she's eating fries, and so they're supposed to draw a line from the child's name to the picture with fries. Then they go on to
There are no fries.
3 pages later, and they have a picture of fries, and they have the word is scrambled, so they have to then spell it correctly using the letters given, but it's chips. And our kids are like, "Mrs. Farr, I don't know this one." I'm like, "Yeah, you wouldn't know that one. It's chips." But they're pictures of fries. I'm like, "Yep," but in England they call them
Freedom
this.
fries.
Thanks, Bush. George Bush. Yep.
Look that up. That's some good history for you. Where did the term freedom fries come from? And why? Anyway.
So it's that kind of ridiculousness that we have to.
Yeah, you're always bouncing back and forth between.
But our children, Erin and Keegan, it doesn't ever affect them. Like, it never phases them because of the TV shows they watch.
Yeah, I get that.
It's normal for them.
No.
They're bilingual. Because it's really
We
different.
just got to teach them Negro now.
They've got some of that too.
Nah, they ain't got enough.
They've got some.
No, I really don't.
You have some.
You heard it. That's the thing. But we just have. We
But
gotta,
they don't- but you don't
we just
speak
need to,
it.
We just need to have you watch some Boys in the Hood and some.
I watched Boys in the Hood.
No. I mean, really watch it. And then some.
Higher learning and some.
Higher learning is it's.
There's some.
It's college.
Yeah.
That
was Tyra before the tooth.
What's the other one? The one with
Stop pounding the table.
Lorenz Tate when he was young. Oh, they're gonna kill me. Oh, what's the name of that movie? It's got Lorenz Tate. He's young. Oh gosh. Menace to Society. I got it first.
I didn't even know who that was.
Yeah. See. There's some good ones.
All I could think of was.
Or you could just watch everything that Samuel L. was in.
Yes.
Then you're gonna get all the Negro that you need.
That's right, and all the motherfuckers you ever need.
All
ever.
the motherfuckers that you ever gonna need.
Have you watched Long Kiss Goodnight yet?
No.
That's a Christmas movie. You should have showed it.
Oh, it's one of my.
You should have
favorites.
screened it. You should have screened it downstairs. What's wrong? Got a big screen and everything.
What? How do
You
you
can't
what?
use that stupid TV.
It's a TV from the 90s. Of course you could use
It's
it.
2003.
2003.
It's a TV from the 90s. Trust me.
Okay. The TV is terrible. It sucks. And it should be
It was
dismantled
designed in
for
the
parts.
90s.
Yes,
It was assembled in 2003.
Should be dismantled for parts.
I think it's like a 55-inch screen, but it's like 720p or whatever.
Oh,
Or
God.
lower.
I think it's lower than that.
Or
I really think it's
lower.
a 4 something.
480.
Yeah, I think it's a 480.
DVD quality.
Because this phone, Your phone looks better than that.
Well, of course it does.
Yeah,
but it's also
we've got.
it's also the screen is smaller. It's got more pixels packed into a smaller space, so of course it's going to look better.
Well, let's just put it this way: our TV in China was better than this,
Well, of course it was.
and that was a crappy ass
And
TV.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, but they were made.
That was
You know, the flat panels in China are like, I don't know. Flat panels in China today, people will have that before they have the phone.
Yeah, because
It's just everywhere.
They're
And
cheap
all
and-
different sizes,
yeah.
they're just everywhere. Flat panels, you can get them everywhere. So what else do we have for the people today?
You wanted to talk about the Black Mirror movie.
Which you didn't do.
I didn't watch.
See,
I saw the
it's
trailer.
just
I
so
was
sad.
like,
Stop doing that. It's getting so frustrating that you will not listen to your family when you keep telling the world that you should listen to your family.
But you know, here comes Keegan and saying that movie really messed with me.
Yes.
If it messes with her,
No,
what
you're
makes-
not. But you don't know why. You don't understand what she's saying. You can't listen to Keegan and go, "Oh, because Keegan was disturbed, I can't watch this movie." It's like, no.
I didn't
You know,
say I can't.
Avengers
I don't want it.
Infinity War was fucking disturbing,
Oh,
but
God.
that's that's not a reason for you not to watch it.
No.
Having to sit through Aquaman, which is now the most I put it on my Facebook today. Most popular DCU movie ever. It's bigger than almost all of the movies that have come out from DC.
Really?
Yes. Bigger than The Dark
That's
Knight.
because Jason Momoa is young.
No, that's not why.
Yes, it is why.
No,
Because all the moms are
not
like,
why.
"Oh, you want to go see this
it's,
movie?"
it's probably that for women, sure, but
Yes,
not
but
for everybody.
Out of
because
all the
that's
DC
not why we
movies,
went.
that's the only one I've seen,
Okay,
and I'll see it again.
that's not the only one.
I'll
you've seen.
download that
It's
bitch
not-
to my
it's not-
iPad.
it's not the only one you've seen.
You've seen the
You've seen Superman.
movies.
I've seen the old ones. I've
Those
not
are all
seen
DC.
any of the new stuff.
Okay, it's all DC. Stop acting like you haven't seen it. You
Oh
have
wait,
seen
I
it.
have too. I've seen Green Lantern.
See, that's
I
DC.
have.
Okay.
So understand that.
You've seen all
but
the
yeah,
Superman movies, though, haven't you?
Old ones.
Yeah.
they're
I'm talking the new
Those.
stuff. I've not seen anything but Green Lightning.
Green
Or
Lightning.
Green Lantern.
Now you mixing up Black Lightning and Green Lantern.
Green
Oh,
Lantern.
now we got Green Lightning.
Oh, God.
Green Lantern and Aquaman. Aqua Yummy.
Aqua Yummy. It is now the most. It is the biggest. They're talking about it reaching $1 billion, and its market is overseas. It is not in the United States,
The Aqua Yummy.
which I don't know what that means. It's the character that the
I
news
saw that.
organizations are saying. See, the characters that people are saying that, like the film itself, Aquaman is like regarded as not important. The least important of all the heroes, and that's got the biggest movie.
Huh.
Yeah. Because in the comic books, he sucks.
I know. I saw the Did you see the video I posted of Jason Momoa? And they were talking. He was on some Conan, I think. Conan was like, so in all of the old Justice League stuff, Aquaman was kind of like
He could talk to the dolphins.
crap. I mean, he was, and they showed him on the little manta rays, you know, and he's like, but now there's you and like the big movie, and Jason Momoa just laughs, but when they showed the little, I just started giggling like, I remember my brother watching this, and I'm like, what the fuck are you watching? What kind of shit is this?
Was Aquaman on the Super
And-
Friends? Was he part of that group? Was he on
I
there?
think
Because that means we
so.
would have watched him at least once a week.
And Jacksepticeye interviewed Jason Momoa, and he said the same thing. He was like, from what I knew of your character, going into this movie is like, this is not gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out of it and was like, it's okay. But
I all I could say about the film was it's aight.
yeah, right.
But it's
okay.
It is
It's an
a
action
sort of
movie.
fantastical fight scene.
Yeah. one
It's
really
like
long
it's like
fight scene.
it's like action. It's lots of action. It's gonna keep It doesn't really slow down much.
No.
It's just lots of action. There are not long lulls. There's not lots of story to, there's not lots of lore.
Or emotion.
It's just
a fight scene.
Yeah, I didn't cry.
It's like let's get it on. But you know what's funny about that is, spoilers, that the film takes place after Justice League.
Yeah.
So because it takes place after Justice League, it kind of makes sense that there's little connection to anything else because they've already defeated the big bad. Yeah. So, okay. Now it's like you're starting a whole new thing.
Oh, and I saw a thing in his brother, his suit that he had, that silver and purple suit. It's actually
Who the hell is Hawk Girl?
Oh, don't even.
Stop.
The two suits that they're wearing in that last fight.
Yeah.
They're like almost perfect comic book accurate suits. Because there was a side by side of his brother and then the comic book version. I can't remember if he's not as bright in the comic books. He's a bit, because he's supposed to be the evil one, so he's a bit darker than Aquaman. But he's still like that. He's like a gunmetal gray and like the dark purple. But the suit, it still's got the fish fins on the side, and it's very similar to what they did in the comic book.
Huh.
His hair was weird in the movie. Like it kept changing.
Who?
The brother.
They were underwater.
I don't care. He still had like this little bun at sometimes, and other times he didn't have. But then.
Okay, that's just taking out the bun.
No, he didn't have hair long enough to make a bun.
Okay, why is this important?
It was weird.
Of all the things to talk about that movie, man bun ain't it.
It was weird.
It really isn't.
I didn't even... What?
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch it again when I can get it on my computer because I'm not paying for the go back and watch that again.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. I want it to go somewhere. I want a connection to all the other stuff. And right now, the connection between Aquaman and the rest of the DC universe is one line in Aquaman movie.
Yep. It's one line that you barely hear.
That's it. That's the whole connection.
Like, it doesn't even... Like, when we were watching it, it was like, oh... That's what that was.
And then you knew what time period you were in, and that's it. You knew you were post Justice League,
but nothing else connected.
And you knew at that point he knew all those other characters.
Right, but that didn't
and that's
matter.
It. And it didn't matter
because they could have made this movie before.
Right, having that knowledge changed nothing about this film.
Yeah,
and it should have. It should have done something, and maybe at some point they could connect it better to say, that's why I'm going to go back to Atlantis. That's why I went back. Or that's because I had this experience of being a hero.
Right.
Because he was a hero to a certain group of people, but then he wasn't really a hero to to himself. He never saw himself as a hero. He just saw himself as just kind of protecting those that were in that town around him.
And one disconnection in Justice League, he knows Mira. He's talked to her.
Right.
He knows her. And then in this, he
meets her for the first time.
He's like, he doesn't even know her name.
Right.
But in Justice League, he almost resents her.
Right.
He doesn't like her.
Well, he doesn't like anything from Atlantis.
True, but...
And see, that's the thing. There was a change in his thinking. I don't like Atlantis. He knew that means okay. If this story is to be believed, the way it was told in Aquaman, what we didn't get in Justice League was that he knew his mother.
Right.
See, in Justice League, you don't get that.
But he didn't know his mother. He never met his... Well, he did.
She told him stories.
Yeah, when he was little.
Right. He knew his mother. That's the thing that we don't get in Justice League. So, if he knew his mother and then he becomes angry at and doesn't like Atlantis because Atlantis kills his mother. That's his whole thing through the whole movie, right?
Yep.
Lots of spoilers. So
Yeah.
if that's the case, when he is with everybody else in Justice League, well, that means that something would have had to have changed in his mindset to ever go back there.
Yeah.
Right, because he does go back, which is the problem. And
So, I don't know. They had opportunities even in just the dialogue to kind of clear up like his mental state, like where he was. Because the way they made it seem, it's like they made a Green Lantern movie. They made it stand alone from everything else.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. And then, like you said, his whole thing in Justice League, it doesn't connect.
Yeah, I don't.
All of his
That's
motivation and everything.
Yeah, nothing. It doesn't make sense.
Because I don't even think he talks about his family or really much Atlantis in Justice League.
Nope. I don't think he talks about his father. I don't think he has anything to do with the lighthouse. I don't even think that's in there.
I don't think he talks about his mother, and the only thing he has her trident. I
Right.
think that's it.
Which
She left. She would have left.
Right.
no,
She didn't take it.
She took it with her in the movie.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
I thought she
has
took
it.
No, I
No.
don't
Oh
think
no, she took it and
What's his butt brought it back to
Oh,
her.
that's right.
yeah,
Gave it
Green,
to him when he
Green
was
Goblin
when he was
gave
teaching
it to
him.
him. Yeah,
Green Goblin.
I don't remember his name, and
Willem Dafoe.
That's the only thing I've seen him in. So
Willem Dafoe.
he's Green Goblin.
He's done a lot of movies.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen all those movies.
Streets of Fire.
I
love that movie.
He's Green Goblin.
The music in it is awesome. It really is.
Yeah, they could have done a better job connecting it.
Yeah, it was not cool. But it is the highest grossing DC Universe film right now,
I mean, it looked cool.
which is
That's all I can really say about it. It looked cool.
Let's talk about highest grossing. The woman who played
Goes
That was
many
a
ways.
weird statement.
the woman who played the princess in Black Panther.
Uh-huh.
She is the highest paid female actress in the world right now, at the end of 2018.
She was in Black Mirror.
She's the highest paid.
She was in the last episode of season 4 of Black Mirror.
Cool.
Really?
Yes,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
the one with the museum called Black Museum.
Yeah, I
Good
came,
episode.
I came around to ask you something. I was like, is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I saw that the other day. And
Bigger
I was
than
like,
Michonne?
Yep.
What?
Yep.
What?
Highest paid. I was like,
I would have thought Michonne would have
Yeah.
had her beat because Michonne is still going with The Walking Dead.
but she's in
Yeah.
other stuff. She's in a lot of other stuff.
But so is Michonne.
Okay, but she's kicking ass. And banking.
Michonne can rock the bald head and everything.
Yeah. Because in
Michonne.
The Walking Dead, she has dreads, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. All right, what else you got for the people? Back to school tomorrow. I've been waiting all day to say that because I don't want to go back.
I don't either. I don't want to go back just because I've enjoyed staying up until 5-7 in the morning,
Yeah,
reading books all night.
Yeah, don't.
Let's
do
see,
that
today
anymore.
is the 6th of January, and I have already read 5 books for the year.
See, that's not worth that. No.
I love when my son says,
Don't do that.
Mommy, you're supposed to go to sleep.
Yeah,
Don't
because
do
you
that.
say, I'm gonna try to go to bed at a reasonable time. When what happens? I went to sleep at 7 o'clock this morning.
I did go to bed.
Yeah,
At
went to
7
bed
o'clock this morning.
and then the bright light of a phone.
I didn't go to bed at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's what time I fell asleep because my book was finished.
That's not any
look,
better. You're
look.
not making it better.
I don't think you understand that what happens in a dark room, which our room is not ever really dark
No.
because of the crazy lights they have outside. But when Karen is sleeping in the bed and she's got her phone pointed back at her, even though the phone is quite dim,
And it's like the black screen with
right,
the words.
with the white words, when she holds it up like this, you see how the light hits my face and bounces off? Now imagine that like 100 times greater. I don't know how many lumens that actually is, But trust me, the amount of light that bounces back off her face, and usually she's pointed like this, like this, and I'm over there, and she's like this, which means you get wang wang, and then basically by 4 o'clock, it's like I got to get up because the sun is out.
Yeah.
Shut up! I am not that pale. Don't give that look. Look, child, we're almost the same shade.
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
Really?
I don't lay in the bed with the phone on. Also, I don't sleep with anybody
Did you
else,
really say I'm not look? There's a monitor. For those of you that don't understand, there's a monitor like just above the lens of the camera. So sometimes we kind of peek up there to see what we look like. You know, make sure we haven't like drifted outside of the frame or something. And you're looking at her right now, and she can see herself right now, and she's
Not really.
saying that she's not that pale with a black shirt on. All right, so my prop. I'll talk about the prop. I got this today. This is the anti-Nystat.
Oh my god. That's terrible.
Yes.
Freaking anti.
Because
That could be a
okay,
super
so
villain all on its
because
own.
Casey made that Gorilla Pod, the Joby Gorilla Pod. He made that famous essentially, almost single-handedly, right? Anybody you hear about, that's who they kind of
Got it.
associate with that thing. And then all of the YouTubers that want to record themselves using a camera, mirrorless or DSLR, doesn't matter. That's the thing that they were using because they could put it anywhere and it was, soft rubber and all this other stuff.
Stable.
The problem is, after not having it for not very long, it doesn't stand up anymore.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So you'll see, if you watch your YouTube videos, those of you out there,
Oh, his camera stinks, right?
you will sit there and watch this the framing go, and then they'll fix it, and then they'll come back and they'll talk. So over time, in the last couple years of having these very expensive tripods, they have to do something else. So I got one that we used to use for the audio, and it was a cheap one and blah blah blah. It now can't hold my camera up.
And the legs are falling off.
It can almost barely hold itself up.
Yeah.
So
And
I
mine
went
is falling
and
apart,
did
too.
my research, and I got this one. Look at it. It's so awesomeness.
It's very light.
It's super light.
It's lighter than the
It will
other one.
stand up, right? If I get in front of it, maybe you'll see it better. See? So it stands on the table. And then if you want, and you really need to do your, pod, look,
Your
what?
vlogging thing.
Are you talking, what? This is it? That's all you need was that little bit of length so that they can see you and talk to the people and, oh, this is going to be great.
And how much was that one?
It was less than 400 pesos.
Whoa. What?
When I say cheap, I mean cheap.
Hold on, let's convert.
It's a newer. I like newer.
400
Just like-
pesos?
Something like that. It was really cheap.
That's $20.
Yeah. It wasn't meant to be expensive, but it's super light.
All right.
How much was the bendy one that you got us?
About the same price.
Oh, okay.
About the same price. So, be on the lookout for some more. What do we call those?
Vlogs.
Vlogs. Beware of the vlog.
Are you
ever
gonna
tell
take it to
people
the
where
aquarium
it
this
is?
week?
I've got one vlog up.
Yeah, did you ever tell people where it was?
No, because there's only one vlog up.
Yeah, but send people to the channel.
No, but there's only one. Ugh.
Are you going
You're
to
gonna
take
send
it-
them. They're gonna watch like 5 minutes, and then it's gonna be like over.
And the best video you ever made
What's the best video
in Thailand. The one where you pan around me with the epic music and
Oh, I've got your mother's epic smudging,
Sage? My sage.
epic smudging. But I think I already posted that. I posted that on like Facebook or something.
Yeah.
right, but that's not on your
Are you
channel.
taking your thing to the aquarium on Thursday or Wednesday?
I don't know. I'm not doing anything that is.
I'm not talking about for them. I'm talking about for your vlog.
I don't know. Maybe I'll use my just use my phone. See, because
We
the
have
phone's
phone bracket
but
that you
because
can
the
put on
phone
here.
is lighter, just doing putting it out there like this becomes okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't need this
Yeah, you
to
don't.
hold this out.
Yeah.
But to put the DSLR, the thing that we're being recorded on right now, that needs a little more. It needs a little more girth,
Yeah.
and this has girth.
Especially if you lower this and have the legs around that.
Oh yeah,
It's a bit
it's
stronger.
got some. It's awesome. It's pretty cool. So we're gonna test this out and see what we can see. Look at that. It's a little,
It's super light too.
And it gets smaller.
and it gets smaller.
And it comes in a cute little carry bag.
What? Are you seeing this? Come on now. Yeah, we'll talk about this later. All right. What else you got for the people?
Time for Twitch talk.
It's not Twitch Talk. Stop calling it that. We're not on Twitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are you calling it?
The gamer chat.
It's Gamer Chat.
Okay.
I made a thumbnail.
It has a thumbnail and
theme
and
song.
theme music.
I made the theme music.
So be on the
And
lookout.
I took the.
I don't know if I'm using the thumbnail though.
Why
Why?
not? What's wrong with
My
my thumbnail?
My thumbnail is sweet. It's got the travel
That was just
fars
that was
on
just
there.
the idea I had.
But it's got
to
the
have
traveling-
a collage of
It's
all
got
the
the
games that we
I know, but it's got the
played and stuff.
traveling fars over there. It's got the controller because that's what we use.
One at the
Alternate them.
yeah. There you go.
Maybe we put one at the beginning and one at the end
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Do that.
because your thing doesn't say Gamer Chat on it.
If it does.
Well done.
What
Take
does
a
it
look.
say?
Take a look, and you'll see what I mean. It does not say that. So
Ah!
Probably says lame or gack or something.
no, it's like game. It says it's. I think it says Game Chat.
Oh, does it?
I think so. Anyway, what else we got for people? That's it. That's all you got. You look like you're ready for lunch or a nap.
Which comes after lunch.
Yeah.
What's for lunch today?
I don't know.
Are we eating? I seem to be eating like Indian every time I cook.
Yeah.
But yet you
Because I
are using the
have
coconut
made-
milk, which I got for your Indian food.
I didn't know that there was a coconut milk.
There's
all I
2
knew,
cans of
all I
coconut.
knew about was curry. So everything I eat has literally
The garam
lots of
masala in
curry.
it.
It has curry.
Oh, you're not using the garam masala.
I didn't know there was that.
I
Either.
showed you the bag.
Oh, that you shouldn't. I don't know how to use that.
I don't. I use,
All I have is the curry powder.
You just put it in like you do curry powder,
With the curry powder.
if you want. But there's already curry powder in it.
See, I know.
It's all the spices that I would use when I made your curry. It's all those spices already together, so you don't have
So
to.
why don't I have this
turmeric
out?
and cumin and coriander.
Why
and
don't
blah,
you
blah,
put
blah.
that out on the counter?
Okay. Because the cats will bat the bag around.
Oh God,
Because I can't keep the cats off the counter yet.
damn cats! Let's kill them.
What?
So, anything else for the people today? I'm checking the time.
3:02.
I can't.
No.
No. The
I'm
timer.
checking the time. Okay.
I can't think of anything else.
Really? Nothing?
No.
Not a thing. You're kind of quiet today. All right. Good.
No.
All right. If you want to find us on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, or the Spotify, we are the Traveling Fars. If you want to find us at Twitter or Instagram, Traveling Fars. If you like that email thing, travelingfars@gmail.com, send your questions over. And if you want to check out the blog space that Karen was talking about earlier, thetravelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry.
You need to make a new paper.
Nah, man. I like my
And you can find all of our older blogs and podcasts if you look at the left-hand side of the page.
What page are you talking
The
about? Like
blueberry-
every page?
The blueberry page.
Every single
On
page.
the internet?
On
If
the,
you look on the left-hand side of your internet,
We have invaded.
yes.
on the blueberry page,
So if on the blueberry page, on the left-hand
on
side,
the lower left-hand
now
side,
what are you telling them to go to
you
see?
can find all of our older posts. If you're looking for, I want us to teach outside of the country, where do I start? Go to January 2018. If you want to hear the podcast where we talk about what to expect next,
What to expect when you're expecting?
no, not that. Go to March 2018, and it's the Q of the W.
It's what?
the Q of the W.
Q of the W. Oh, we haven't done those in a while. We need to do some more Q of the W.
Haven't had any cues.
Wait, right. We need more Qs. Qs are questions, so send your questions because we do Q of the W. That's DUBYA. W.
There's no actual W.
No, it's Q of the W.
Yeah. Is that how you spell it?
Yes!
That's
W!
That's exactly how
I
he
didn't
spells
know
it.
that's how you spelled it on the episode.
It's the same as George W. George W.
Yeah.
Q of the W.
Yeah. That's right.
All right. Cool. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, people.
Peace. I can see him. I can feel his terribleness. This is like feeling the neck sweater.
Feeling the what?
Does it give you power?
What?
Feeling the neck sweater?
Back in the Theater podcast.
Hans and Menela.
Find out about the neck sweater.
And the power of the neck sweater.
The spiritual nature of the neck sweater.